Maya Chen pressed her thumb against the biometric lock of her studio pod, feeling the familiar hum of recognition before the door slid open with a pneumatic hiss. 400 square feet of living space in Brooklyn's Vertical District, one of the old repurposed office towers that had been converted during the housing crisis of 2039. She stepped inside, the motion sensors triggering soft ambient lighting that painted her modest space in warm tones designed to mimic natural sunlight, something increasingly rare at street level. Her neural interface blinked a notification in the corner of her vision, another 17 messages in the Chen family holocat. She blinked them away, watching the translucent display fade. She'd learned to filter the constant stream of her family's curated existence, their perfectly staged moments projected directly into the consciousness of anyone connected to their social sphere. Instead, she moved to her workstation, a salvaged desk supporting 3 holographic displays that flickered to life at her approach. The footage was all there. 2 years of work, hundreds of hours captured through her neural recording implant and hidden microcameras. Family dinners where every smile was calculated for social credit scores. Holiday gatherings orchestrated like corporate product launches. Confessional moments when people forgot that Maya's neural interface had a passive recording function. Thinking she was just another family member zoning out while they revealed their carefully hidden anxieties, the working title floated above the center display in soft blue light, Golden Child, a family portrait. Her wrist device vibrated. An incoming holocall from Sophia. Maya hesitated, then accepted, watching her younger sister's image materialize in miniature above her palm, perfectly lit, skin smoothed by real-time filters, every pixel optimized for maximum engagement. "You're coming to my engagement party, right?" Sophia's voice carried that practiced tone of casual concern that influencers perfected, the kind that sounded spontaneous but was probably rehearsed. "Mom will literally die if you don't show." Like, her social credit will actually take a hit if both daughters aren't there. Maya studied her sister's holographic face. Even at this scale, even through the filters, she could see the tightness around Sophia's eyes, the way her smile didn't quite reach the metrics that her engagement algorithms were probably tracking in real time. "I'll be there," Maya said. "Great. Oh, and maybe try to wear something nice? Like, I know authenticity is your brand or whatever, but there's going to be holo capture everywhere and the Chen family image. I'll wear something appropriate, sophomore, perfect. Love you, bye." The hologram winked out, leaving Maya staring at the empty air above her palm. She knew it was prime footage for her final act. The engagement party would be the culmination of everything she'd been documenting, the ultimate performance of wealth and status in a world where both were amplified by technology to grotesque proportions. Maya pulled up her transportation app and requested a ground car for Saturday. The algorithm tried to upsell her to an aerial vehicle with a better reputation score, but she declined. Her 2035 Honda Autocab was old enough that it still required manual confirmation for routes, a nostalgic quirk she appreciated in an age where most vehicles integrated directly with neural interfaces. As the confirmation blinked in her vision, she opened a separate window and began sorting through her latest footage. Her neural implant had captured everything from the last family gathering, her father's micro-expressions when discussing Maya's career, her mother's practiced pivot away from uncomfortable questions about Maya's success metrics, the way extended family members' eyes glazed over when she mentioned documentary filmmaking, their attention scores dropping as their neural interfaces flagged her conversation as low-value content. The ground car's navigation system projected the route through her neural interface as she drove toward Connecticut on Saturday afternoon. The dashboard camera was recording, an old habit from her film school days before neural recording became ubiquitous. She preferred the external perspective sometimes. The way traditional cameras could capture what neural interfaces missed, the physicality of spaces, the material wealth on display, the contrast between environments, Her voiceover notes formed in her mind, her neural interface transcribing her thoughts. David and Linda Chen built their fortune during the infrastructure boom of the 2030s, when commercial real estate pivoted from physical spaces to hybrid reality districts. They raised their daughters in the new luxury, the best neural education suites, premium genetic health monitoring, social credit scores carefully cultivated from birth. Success meant visible wealth, quantified engagement, status that could be measured and displayed in real time. The Connecticut estate materialized through the trees, and Maya felt her pulse quicken. The property was designed to impress even in an era when most people experienced luxury through augmented reality filters. Real trees, real grass, real sky, not the simulated environments most people in the vertical districts experienced. The house itself was a masterwork of adaptive architecture, its facade shifting between opacity and transparency based on internal preferences, giving glimpses of the party inside like a living advertisement. Maya's autocab looked pathetic among the aerial vehicles parked on the designated landing platforms, their sleek forms catching the afternoon light. She parked near the service entrance. Her cheeks hot with embarrassment even though she knew the gesture was performative. She was choosing authenticity. That's what she told herself. Her dress was simple, printed from sustainable materials, the kind of clothing that screamed, "I don't participate in fast luxury consumption." Everyone else sparkled in smart fabrics that adjusted color and texture based on environmental factors and social context, dresses, and suits that literally adapted to maximize the wearer's appeal according to real-time engagement metrics. Her mother materialized at the entrance, her smart dress shimmering through a palette of complementary tones as she registered Maya's arrival. Linda Chen had that polished appearance that came from expensive genetic therapies and daily optimization protocols. Looking barely 40 despite being 56, "Maya, you're here." Linda's embrace was brief, her attention already fragmenting as her neural interface managed multiple conversations simultaneously. She turned to a cluster of guests, her social credit score visible as a subtle glow around her silhouette, a premium feature that some people paid extra to display. "Everyone, this is Maya, our other daughter. She makes little films." The pivot was immediate, practiced. "But Sophia, you've probably seen her on the influencer networks, she's the one getting married." The guest's attention score spiked for Sophia's mention, dropped for Maya's. She could see the metrics displayed in subtle tags above their heads. A feature her neural interface tracked automatically for her documentary research. Social credit, influence ratings, engagement scores, all the invisible hierarchies made visible through technology. Her father found her near the bar, his hand heavy on her shoulder. David Chen's neural interface was top tier, probably the latest Prometheus Dynamics model, giving him access to more processing power and data streams than Maya could afford in 5 years. He smelled like expensive whiskey and synthetic confidence pheromones. "Still doing that content creation thing, sweetheart?" His voice carried, designed to reach nearby conversations. "When are you going to get a real career? Something with actual revenue generation?" He was on his third scotch, his blood alcohol content probably being monitored and filtered by his internal health systems, keeping him at that perfect level of looseness without actual impairment. Maya smiled, let the moment wash over her. Her neural recorder captured everything, his condescension, the way nearby guests glanced away uncomfortably, the metric of social discomfort rising in the ambient data. She needed air. She grabbed a bottle of real wine, not the synthetic stuff most people consumed, and slipped through the adaptive walls into the garden. Real plants, real soil, real oxygen generation. A luxury that announced itself through its refusal to be optimized. He was standing away from the house, looking up at stars that were barely visible through the light pollution and atmospheric filters. His smart suit was casual, adaptive fibers configured for comfort rather than display. No visible social credit scores, no engagement metrics, no attention-seeking protocols active in his interface configuration. Fellow refugee from the performance art in there, Maya turned, surprised to find someone else who'd opted out of the quantified socializing. He was maybe early 30s, with the kind of face that looked interesting rather than optimized, evidence that he'd declined the standard genetic enhancements most wealthy people pursued. Is it that obvious? She sat on a garden bench. Real stone rather than programmable matter. He joined her, maintaining that careful distance that people observed in an age when consent protocols were built into neural interfaces. I'm James. And yes, it's obvious. You're the only person in there whose attention metrics aren't spiking every 30 seconds. You're actually present. Their conversation developed naturally, without the artificial momentum that neural interface prompts usually generated. He asked about her work with genuine curiosity, the kind that didn't feel like algorithmic small talk. She told him about documentary filmmaking, carefully omitting her current project. He described teaching cooking to kids in the lower districts, the joy of watching someone master a physical skill in an age when most people outsourced cooking to automated systems. So what do you do? Maya asked. Let me guess, another tech entrepreneur? James laughed, the sound authentic in a way that her neural interface struggled to quantify. God, no. I'm a chef. Former chef. I had a Michelin-starred restaurant in Manhattan. Walked away from it 3 years ago. Former chef? Maya leaned forward, intrigued. That sounds like there's a story. I spent 5 years creating molecular gastronomy experiences for people whose neural interfaces were busy documenting everything for social credit instead of actually tasting the food. Turned out teaching a 12-year-old how to make their first successful omelette felt more meaningful than serving deconstructed concepts to wealthy narcissists. Maya felt something shift in her chest, a recognition that went beyond the usual algorithmic compatibility matching her neural interface occasionally suggested. Most people don't give up prestige like that. Most people are terrified of disappointing their families. His eyes held hers, and she could see his interface was running minimal social protocols, giving her the rare gift of unmediated attention. You know what that's like, I'm guessing? Before she could answer, a voice cut through the garden's ambient soundscape. James. Get in here, man. Dad's asking for you. Maya's neural interface automatically identified the speaker through facial recognition and social mapping. Derek Zhang, registered as Sophia's fiancé, cross-referenced with James's family tree. Her face must have shown the realization because James smiled ruefully. Brother. Older brother. The family disappointment. He stood, and the space between them felt suddenly charged with complication. Guess we have that in common, the moment recalibrated. They were both black sheep in families obsessed with quantified success, with optimization metrics and social credit scores. Their eyes locked, and Maya's neural interface struggled to categorize the emotional data flooding her sensors. This doesn't have to be weird, James said, says the guy whose brother just offered me a pity job. James stepped closer, close enough that her neural interface registered his elevated heart rate, the subtle shifts in his body temperature that indicated genuine emotional response rather than performed attraction. Derek's an ass. Always has been. For what it's worth, I think you're doing exactly what you should be doing. You don't even know what I'm doing, no. But I can see you're not performing. Everyone else in there is performing. You're actually living. The sexual tension was palpable, registered by both their neural interfaces but left unmediated by algorithmic suggestion. He reached out, his hand hovering near hers, then pulled back, respecting the consent protocols while making his interest clear. I should go before Derek sends a search party. But Maya? He held her gaze. Don't let them make you feel small. You're the most interesting person at this party. He walked away, glancing back once. Maya sat in the garden, her neural recorder capturing the entire interaction, her heart rate elevated in ways that her health monitoring system flagged as unusual. Back inside, the humiliation reached its crescendo during toasts. The room's holographic displays amplified everything, projecting the speakers larger than life while tracking engagement metrics in real time. Uncle Richard raised his glass, his social credit score glowing prominently around his silhouette. To Sophia, proof that beauty, brains, and business sense run in the Chin family. And to Maya, well, we can't all be overachievers. The laughter was tracked by sentiment analysis algorithms, displayed as waves of positive engagement that washed through the room. He cornered Maya afterward, pressing a credit chip into her hand. For groceries, kiddo. Don't be too proud. I know content creation doesn't generate much revenue. Sophia's toast was worse, delivered with that influencer-perfect smile that her neural interface optimized in real time. My sister has always marched to her own drum. She doesn't care about success the way normal people do, and I really admire that about her. It takes courage to just opt out. The words landed like precision strikes, her engagement scores spiking as the audience registered the perfectly calibrated shade. Maya excused herself to the bathroom, where she finally let her composure crack. She stared at her reflection in the smart mirror, which helpfully offered to apply filters, suggesting optimal angles for holo capture. She disabled all the suggestions, looking at her actual face, unoptimized and real. Her neural interface replayed footage from the party, scrolling through hours of accumulated humiliation. Her documentary was almost complete. She made a decision. She found James later, outside again. Neither of them smoked. Cigarettes had been obsolete for decades, but it was an excuse to step away from the quantified socializing. Can I ask you something? Maya leaned against the garden wall, feeling the cool stone against her back. Do you regret it? Walking away from your family's expectations, James was quiet for a moment. His neural interface dimmed to minimal functionality. Every day. And not once. He looked at her intently. What are you really asking? I'm asking if revenge is always petty, or if sometimes it's just truth-telling. His interest sharpened. Now you have to explain, but she didn't. Not yet. Instead they talked until 2 a.m, sitting in his vehicle, a ground car like hers, another small rebellion against the aerial vehicle status symbol. They discussed art, purpose, family wounds, the cost of authenticity in an age when everything could be optimized and quantified. The conversation became increasingly intimate, their neural interfaces syncing minimal ambient data, creating a small bubble of privacy in an increasingly surveilled world. I haven't talked to anyone like this in years, James said, because everyone in your brother's world is fake, because I've been hiding from my family. You're not hiding. You're planning something. Maya felt her heart rate spike, registered by both their interfaces. How did you've been filming? I noticed the camera angles, the way you position yourself. Your neural recorder's been active all night. You're documenting all of this. She decided to trust him, this man who'd walked away from prestige, who understood the cost of authenticity. If I tell you, you can't tell anyone. Especially not Derek. Derek and I barely speak. Your secret's safe. I've been making a documentary about my family for 2 years. About wealth, performance, the cost of keeping up appearances in a world that quantifies everything. This party is my final footage. And it's going to change everything. James was quiet for a long moment, his neural interface processing. Can I be there when you show it to them? Why would you want that? Because someone should be in your corner. And selfishly? I'd like to see my family's faces too. Derek's in this film, everyone is. Including you now, good. He reached over, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, an intimate gesture that made her breath catch. Her neural interface registering the touch as significant, storing the sensory data with high priority. Show them who you really are, Maya. I have a feeling you're about to blow their entire world apart. They sat in charged silence, the vehicle's privacy screens dimming the outside world. Maya moved to leave. James caught her hand, his touch triggering consent protocols in both their interfaces, asking permission for increased intimacy. She accepted. Before you go, I'm not good at this, but can I see you again? Not at family stuff. Just us. Your brother's marrying my sister, which is their story. I'm asking about ours. They kissed, tentative at first, then deeper. Maya's neural interface recorded the spike in her neurochemistry, the flood of endorphins and dopamine that no amount of optimization could simulate. James kissed like he was savoring something precious, something real in a world of carefully curated experiences. When they broke apart, her health monitoring systems flagged multiple elevated metrics, all of them feeling dangerously right. This is complicated, she said. The best things are, I'm about to make your family hate me. James grinned, his expression unfiltered and genuine. Even better, Maya drove home at dawn, her neural interface replaying the evening's footage, organizing the data for her final edit. She had everything she needed. But showing this documentary meant detonating a bomb in her family's carefully curated existence. No going back, she opened her workstation and pulled up an email she'd been drafting for weeks, to Netflix's documentary division, where she had a contact from film school. The streaming service had survived the content wars of the 2030s by pivoting to unfiltered reality content, documentaries that showed life without optimization filters. Subject: Final Cut attached, Golden Child, a family portrait. She attached the encrypted file and hit send before she could reconsider. 3 days later, the response came through her neural interface, flagged as high priority. Netflix wanted it. They were offering a substantial licensing fee and a premiere date. But there was more. They wanted to fast-track it because the early footage they'd reviewed was explosive and timely, given current cultural conversations about the cost of quantified existence and performance culture. Her internal monologue crystallized into narrative structure, her documentary training organizing her thoughts. She'd thought she was making a documentary about her family. Turned out she was making one about all of them, everyone performing success instead of living it. The question was whether she had the courage to show it to them. Her wrist device vibrated. James, hey. I know this is crazy, but I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about what I'm about to do. Whatever it is, I meant what I said. I'm in your corner, even if it destroys your family. His response was immediate. My family's been destroying itself for years. Maybe your documentary is exactly what we all need. They made plans to meet, their conversation tracked by minimal interface protocols, existing in that rare space of authentic connection. The romantic subplot and the revenge plot were now intertwined, braided together like strands of DNA, inseparable and potentially explosive. Maya submitted her final cut to Netflix and began planning the family dinner where she'd screen the trailer, the night that would change everything. Her neural interface stored the date with high priority, flagging it as a critical life event, the kind of moment that would be referenced and replayed in her personal timeline for years to come. The decision was made. The fuse was lit. All that remained was watching it burn. 3 months felt like holding her breath underwater. Maya had perfected the art of distance, declined holocalls, responded to family messages with carefully timed delays, crafted excuses that sounded plausible enough to avoid suspicion. Her neural interface filtered most of their attempts at contact, sorting family communications into a folder she checked once weekly, just enough to maintain the illusion of connection without actual engagement. They thought she was embarrassed about something. Her mother's messages carried that particular tone of concerned condescension, the kind that implied Maya had finally hit rock bottom and was too ashamed to admit it. Her father's communications were briefer, more transactional, probably relieved that the disappointing daughter was keeping her distance. Sophia sent occasional check-ins, filtered through so many algorithmic suggestions that Maya couldn't tell what was genuine concern and what was her sister's neural interface prompting appropriate sibling behavior. Meanwhile, her relationship with James had developed in the spaces between her old life and the detonation she'd set in motion. They met in neighborhoods where the Chen and Zhang social networks didn't overlap, coffee shops in the lower districts where people still valued privacy over social credit optimization, restaurants that hadn't upgraded to full holographic menus because their clientele preferred authentic experiences. Their relationship existed in a bubble, separate from the impending explosion, borrowed time that felt more real than anything Maya had experienced in years. His apartment became her refuge. A converted warehouse space in Red Hook, back when the neighborhood still resisted full vertical development. Real windows, real light, real cooking smells that no atmospheric processor could fully replicate. James had stripped out most of the smart home features, preferring manual controls and the kind of inefficiency that wealthy people considered quaint but that Maya found liberating. Tonight he was teaching her to make fresh pasta, and she was failing spectacularly. "You're overthinking it," James said, watching her wrestle with dough that kept sticking to her hands in clumps. "Cooking is about feel, not control," Maya laughed, frustrated, flour dusting her clothes and probably her face. "I control cameras. Food controls me." He moved behind her, his body warm against her back, his hands covering hers. The kitchen was small enough that proximity felt inevitable, designed for it. His breath ghosted across her neck as he guided her movements, showing her how to work the dough with rhythm rather than force. "Stop fighting it," he said, his voice lower now, intimate. "Just feel." The dough was forgotten. Maya turned in his arms, her heart rate spiking in ways that her health monitoring system flagged as significant. His eyes held that same unmediated attention that had caught her at the engagement party, the rare gift of being fully present in an age when most people fragmented their consciousness across multiple data streams. They kissed against the counter, urgent and wanting, 3 months of borrowed time condensing into desperate need. He lifted her onto the kitchen island. Flour dusting everywhere, his hands sliding up her thighs as she pulled his shirt off. His body was solid under her touch, real in ways that augmented reality could never replicate, the heat of his skin, the quickening of his pulse, the way he looked at her like she was the only thing that mattered in a world of infinite distractions. "The pasta," she managed, breathless. "Fuck the pasta." They made love in his kitchen, then stumbled to his bedroom, the intensity fueled by the ticking clock they both felt. This happiness was borrowed time. Soon, everything exploded. The documentary would release, the fallout would begin, and this bubble of authenticity they'd built would be tested by the very exposure Maya had orchestrated. Later, tangled in his sheets, Maya's neural interface registered her elevated stress hormones despite the postcoital dopamine. Her health monitoring system suggested meditation protocols, which she dismissed. Some anxiety couldn't be optimized away. "What happens after?" she asked, her voice quiet in the darkness. "When I show them," James pulled her closer, his hand tracing patterns on her shoulder. "We deal with it. Together. Your family's going to hate me, my family already hates that I'm happy. At least with you, I'll deserve their anger." He kissed her temple, the gesture tender in ways that made her chest ache. "I'm not afraid of the fallout, Maya. I'm afraid of losing you to it." "You won't, promise me. Whatever happens in that room, we're on the same side, I promise." But she was terrified. The documentary didn't just expose her family, it exposed everyone's vulnerabilities, including people she loved. including Sophia, whose breakdown that night in Maya's apartment had been raw and real and never meant for public consumption. Maya had told herself she was showing truth, offering liberation, but late at night she wondered if she was just committing a different kind of violence, one sanctioned by artistic intention and the documentary tradition of uncomfortable revelation. James seemed to sense her spiral. "Hey! Look at me." When she did, his expression was serious. "You're giving them a choice. That's more than anyone gave you. What if it's not my choice to give, then they'll tell you that." Loudly. "But Maya, I've watched you carry this for 3 months. You're not cruel. You're brave." There's a difference, she wanted to believe him. She'd built her entire argument around that difference, truth-telling versus revenge, liberation versus cruelty. But the line felt thinner every day, especially as the release date approached and her opportunities to back out evaporated. Her neural interface chimed softly. A message from her mother, flagged as high priority. "Maya, sweetheart, we need to talk. Please call me." It's been too long. Maya deleted it. Then felt immediately guilty. 3 months of distance had stretched the family tension to its breaking point. Time to orchestrate the reveal. The next morning, she composed a message carefully, her neural interface suggesting optimal phrasing for emotional manipulation, which she ignored. She wanted this genuine, or as genuine as a planned detonation could be. "Mom, Dad, I know I've been distant. I want to clear the air. I've been working on something important, something I want to share with the family. Can we do dinner? My treat. I'll arrange everything." The response came within minutes, her mother's relief palpable even through text. "Of course, darling. We'd love that. Should I invite Sophia and Derek?" "Yes. And whoever else you think should be there. This is about family." The machinery of the gathering began immediately. Her mother's neural interface probably already scheduling, sending invitations, selecting her outfit. David Chin would be pleased, his wayward daughter was finally coming around, initiating family connection, probably ready to announce she'd given up the documentary nonsense for something more practical. Maya booked a private room at Meridian, a restaurant in the floating district that combined old luxury with new, real food prepared by human chefs, but served in a space that literally hovered above the city, accessible only by aerial transport. Expensive enough to signal importance. Private enough for the confrontation she'd planned. The week before the dinner stretched like elastic about to snap. James stayed close, his presence grounding her when the anxiety threatened to overwhelm her carefully maintained composure. They cooked together, made love, talked about futures that might not exist depending on how the family reacted. He never suggested she back out, but she could see the concern in his eyes when he thought she wasn't looking. 2 days before the dinner, Sophia called directly, not a holocat request, but an actual voice-only call, the kind people used when they wanted privacy from visual monitoring. "Maya? Are you okay?" Saturday arrived with that particular quality of dread that no amount of preparation could mitigate. Maya spent the morning at James's apartment, letting him cook breakfast while she reviewed her equipment for the 1000th time. The projector was old school, physical hardware rather than holographic streaming. She wanted control over the presentation, wanted to prevent anyone from interfacing directly with the content before she was ready. "You don't have to do this," James said, setting a plate in front of her. Eggs, real coffee, bread that he'd made from scratch. Simple things that tasted impossibly good. "Yes, I do, okay. Then I'm with you." She looked at him across the small table. This man who'd walked away from prestige and found peace in teaching kids to make omelets. "Thank you. For what? For not trying to talk me out of it. For being on my side even when my side is probably wrong." "Your side isn't wrong. It's just hard. He reached across the table, taking her hand. And I'm not on your side because you're right. I'm on your side because you're you. They arrived at Meridian separately, maintaining the fiction that their relationship was still new, still casual, nothing serious enough to announce at a family gathering. Maya came early to set up, her hand steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. The private room was perfect, glass walls that could opacity on command. Sound dampening that would prevent anyone outside from hearing the explosion she was about to detonate. Her family arrived in waves. Her parents first, Linda Chen resplendent in a smart dress that shifted through complementary jewel tones, David solid and imposing in a suit that probably cost more than Maya's monthly rent. They embraced her carefully, the kind of hug that registered affection without musing clothes or disrupting holographic capture. "You look well, sweetheart," her mother said, scanning Maya's face with the particular intensity of a parent searching for signs of crisis. "We've missed you." Uncle Richard came next, then Aunt Susan, Cousin Michelle trailing behind with her partner. Extended family who'd been at the engagement party, who'd delivered those casual cruelties with the confidence of people who knew the hierarchy and their place in it. They greeted Maya with surprised warmth, probably pleased she'd finally come around, finally recognized her proper place in the family structure. Sophia and Derek arrived last. Her sister looked beautiful and exhausted in equal measure, her skin flawless from expensive treatments but her eyes carrying shadows that no filter could fully hide. Derek was checking his neural interface, attention fragmented even as he shook hands and performed social pleasantries. He'd invited James, apparently, family bonding, getting the brothers closer before the wedding. James caught Maya's eye across the room, giving her a subtle nod. His presence steadied her, reminded her why she was doing this. Not revenge. Liberation. Truth. Everyone settled around the table. Servers brought appetizers, wine, the performative ritual of expensive dining. Maya waited, letting them relax, letting them assume this was just family dinner with a side of announcement about her finally getting a real job or maybe dating someone appropriate. Her mother raised a glass. "To Maya, for bringing us all together. We're so proud of you, sweetheart." The words landed like stones. Proud. They had no idea what they were about to see. Maya stood, her heart rate elevated enough that her health monitoring system suggested breathing exercises. She ignored it. "Thank you all for coming. I know I've been distant lately, and I wanted to explain why." She pulled out the projector, setting it on the table. Several people looked confused. Physical equipment was so outdated. "What's all this?" her father asked, his tone indulgent but slightly impatient. "I wanted to share something I've been working on. A project that means a lot to me." "Did you finally make one of those corporate videos?" David leaned forward, interested now. "I have friends who could use a good videographer. I could make introductions." "Not exactly. This is more personal." She set up the projector, connecting it to the room's display systems. Sophia was watching her with growing alarm, her performer's instinct sensing danger. Derek was still only half present, his neural interface distracting him with whatever crisis his failing startup was currently experiencing. James sat in the back, his posture relaxed but his eyes alert. "For the past 2 years, I've been making a documentary," Maya said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "About family, wealth, performance, and what we sacrifice to maintain appearances. I wanted to share the trailer with you first, before anyone else sees it." Linda Chen's smile faltered. "What do you mean, anyone else?" "You'll understand in a moment." Maya dimmed the lights and pressed play. The trailer opened with beautiful establishing shots, the Connecticut estate at sunset. Sophia's Instagram feed scrolling through filtered perfection, family parties captured with cinematic precision. Beautiful people living beautiful lives, everything optimized and curated and enviable. Then the music shifted, minor key creeping in, and the cracks began to show. Her mother's voice, slightly slurred from champagne, Maya's hidden camera capturing a moment Linda thought was private. We're mortgaged to the limit. David won't admit it, but the business isn't what it used to be. But we can't let anyone know. Appearances are everything. If people knew we were struggling. Her voice broke. The girls can never know. Especially Sophia, the shock in the room was palpable. Maya didn't look at her family, kept her eyes on the screen, watching her carefully constructed revelation unfold. Her father next, drunk at a holiday party, his words captured with devastating clarity, "Maya breaks my heart. She had so much potential. She could have made us proud. Instead she throws it away on this film nonsense. I look at my friends' kids, doctors, lawyers, successful, and I feel like I failed with her." A soft sound from where her mother sat. Maya's hands clenched in her lap, then Sophia. The footage from that night 3 months ago when she'd shown up at Maya's apartment, makeup streaming, breaking down in ways that her 800,000 followers never saw. I bought 50,000 followers last year. Half my brand deals are from companies that don't even pay, I just get free products. Everyone thinks I'm thriving, but I'm drowning. I'm getting married because that's what I'm supposed to do next, but I don't even know if I love Derek. I don't know if I've ever made a real choice in my life. Everything is performance. Even this conversation, I keep thinking about how I'd caption this if I posted it. I'm so fucking tired, Maya. How did you get off the treadmill? Sophia stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor, but she didn't leave. Just stood there, trembling, staring at the screen. Derek's voice came next, his conversation with a business partner that Maya had captured when he thought her camera was off. The IPO's not happening. We're hemorrhaging money. I need this marriage, her family's connections could save us. Plus, her Instagram reach doesn't hurt. It's strategic. Love's not really the point. Now Derek was paying attention, his face pale, his neural interface probably calculating the damage control required. The extended family's confessions followed in rapid succession, Uncle Richard's jealousy, Aunt Susan's admitted financial struggling to keep up appearances, Cousin Michelle's hatred of family gatherings where she always felt inadequate. Every secret, every vulnerability, every moment of private honesty that contradicted the carefully constructed public image. Maya's voiceover came last, over fractured family photos that she'd digitally manipulated to show the cracks beneath the perfection. We built our lives around looking successful. But what does success cost when it's all performance? When did we stop being a family and become a brand? This is the story of what happens when the golden child realizes she's just as trapped as everyone else. The final title cards appeared, Golden Child, a family portrait, a Netflix original documentary streaming January 15th, and below that, the press quotes, already generating Oscar buzz, Variety, the most important family documentary in years, The New York Times. The trailer ended. The lights came up automatically. For 10 seconds, no one moved. Maya counted her heartbeats, each one thunderous in her ears, then her mother's voice, shaking, "You recorded me?" "That was a private conversation, I was drunk." Her father stood, his face flushed with fury. "You had no right." "No right. This is our private business." Sophia was still standing, tears streaming down her face, her careful makeup ruined. "You used me. That night I came to you. I was vulnerable, I trusted you." Derek turned to Sophia, panic overriding his usual calculated charm. "What did you tell her?" "What else is in this film?" Uncle Richard's voice cut through the chaos. "Jesus Christ, Maya. You're destroying your own family for what? Your little career?" Maya stood, her voice calm despite the storm breaking around her. "I'm not destroying anything. I'm showing the truth. Everything in that documentary, people said themselves. I didn't make anyone say those things, you all chose? Derek was on his feet now, his neural interface probably already connecting him to lawyers. If you release this, I'll sue you into oblivion. Unauthorized recording, invasion of privacy. James stood from the back of the room, his voice cutting through Derek's threats with quiet authority. Actually, Derek, she had authorization. I'm in the film too. I signed a release. So did everyone else. Remember those forms Maya had you sign at various gatherings? The ones you didn't bother reading? All eyes turned to James. The family's attention scores spiked as they recalibrated, processing this betrayal from within their own ranks. You knew about this? Derek's voice was dangerously quiet. I found out. And I support it, of course you do. You've always been jealous that I'm the successful one. You're not successful, Derek. You're a house of cards and expensive shoes. The room erupted. Everyone talking at once, voices overlapping, accusations flying. Maya stood at the center of it, the eye of the hurricane she'd created, feeling simultaneously powerful and terrified. Sophia's voice cut through the noise, raw and broken. How could you? I'm your sister. I told you things I've never told anyone. Maya turned to face her, tried to find the words that would make this hurt less. And you're still my sister. Sophia, watch the full documentary. It's not a hit piece. Yes, I included painful truths, but I also showed why. I showed how mom and dad's pressure shaped us. I showed how this culture of performance is destroying all of us. I didn't make you the villain, I made you human. By exposing my secrets to the entire world, by showing that the golden child is suffering just as much as the disappointment. Her mother was crying now, her smart dresses color-shifting algorithms trying to compensate for her emotional state, flickering through unstable patterns. Maya, please. Don't release this. We can discuss whatever you're angry about, but don't humiliate us publicly. I'm not angry, Mom. And that was true. Maya felt a lot of things, guilty, terrified, determined, but anger wasn't dominant. I'm sad. I'm sad that we're all performing for each other instead of connecting. I'm sad that you measure your worth by what the neighbors think. I'm sad that Sophia built a whole fake life because she was afraid of disappointing you. And I'm sad that you see this documentary as humiliation instead of liberation. Her father's voice was cold now, controlled fury replacing his initial explosion. Liberation? You've ruined us. When this comes out, everyone will know we're not. He stopped, realizing what he was about to admit. Not rich? Not perfect? Not the family everyone thinks you are? Maya met his eyes. Dad, that's exactly the point. Aunt Susan was pulling up her neural interface's legal consultation features. I'm calling my lawyer. You recorded private conversations, at gatherings where cameras were visibly present, with signed releases. My lawyer already checked. It's all legal. Uncle Richard stepped forward. His face red. Legal doesn't make it right. You're a snake, Maya. You were gathering ammunition this whole time. James moved, putting himself between Richard and Maya. His voice was dangerously quiet. Watch how you talk to her. Derek turned on his brother. Stay out of this, James. You're not even really part of this family. No, I left your family a long time ago. Best decision I ever made. James's composure cracked slightly, years of Zhang family dysfunction surfacing. And for the record? Maya's documentary includes our family too. Mom's gambling problem that everyone pretends doesn't exist. Dad's affairs. Your failing startup. All of it. Derek went pale. You gave her information about us? I gave her truth. Something this family hasn't dealt in for years. Sophia suddenly walked out, her movements jerky, barely controlled. After a moment, Maya followed, her heart hammering. This was the conversation she'd been dreading most. She found her sister in the restaurant's bathroom, mascara running, hyperventilating over the sink. The smart mirror was offering filter suggestions, trying to help, utterly useless in the face of genuine breakdown. How could you do this to me? Sophia's voice was raw, soft. Don't. Her sister whirled on her. Don't you dare call me that. You don't get to use my nickname after what you did. Maya sat on the counter, keeping her distance. Giving Sophia space. Then be angry. Scream at me. But watch the full documentary first. Please, why? So I can see all the ways you exploited me, so you can see that I didn't. Maya kept her voice gentle, steady. Sophia, the documentary isn't about destroying you. It's about showing what this life costs. You're not the villain. You're the victim, her sister laughed, bitter and broken. I'm the golden child, remember? I got everything I wanted, did you? Maya slid off the counter, moving closer. You told me yourself, you don't even know if you've ever made a real choice. You're marrying Derek because it's the next box to check. You're performing for 800,000 strangers who don't actually know you. You hate your life, sophomore. You said so yourself. Sophia was crying openly now, her perfect facade crumbling. And now everyone's going to know. Do you know what this does to my brand? My partnerships? Everything I built, everything you built is a cage. Maya's voice cracked. I'm trying to give you the key. You don't get to make that choice for me, you're right. I don't. But I get to make choices for myself, and I choose truth over performance. I'm sorry if that hurts you. I really am. But Sophia, I watched you shrink yourself for years. I watched you become less and less real. When you showed up at my apartment that night and finally said out loud how miserable you are, that was the first time I'd seen my real sister in years. That's the person I want to save. Sophia wiped her eyes, smearing makeup further. What if I don't want to be saved? What if I want my fake life back? Then you can rebuild it. But at least you'll know you have a choice. The silence stretched between them, years of sisterhood and rivalry and love and resentment all tangled together. Finally, Sophia spoke, her voice small. Is it too late to stop this? Netflix has the rights. It's streaming in 6 weeks. It's already generating press. There's no stopping it now. Sophia nodded, numb. Then I guess we're both about to find out who we really are when we're not performing. She walked out, leaving Maya alone in the bathroom, wondering if she'd just lost her sister forever. Her neural interface was flooded with messages, notifications, the beginning of the storm she knew was coming. She disabled them all, needing silence, needing to breathe before facing what came next. When she finally emerged, the private room was mostly empty. Her parents had left, probably already consulting crisis management teams. Extended family had fled, distancing themselves from the impending scandal. Derek was gone, likely strategizing damage control with his PR people. Only James remained, sitting in the dim room, waiting for her. Your brother's going to hate you, Maya said, sliding into the chair beside him. He already does. Now he just has a better reason. I ruined your family. James turned to face her, his expression serious. No. You exposed what was already broken. There's a difference. Sophia might never forgive me, she might not. Or she might realize you gave her permission to be human. He took her hand, his touch grounding. Maya, do you regret it? She thought about it, really thought about it. Ask me in 6 weeks, I'm asking now. I regret hurting people I love. I don't regret telling the truth. then you did the right thing. How can you be so sure? His intensity made her breath catch. Because I've lived the alternative. I spent years lying to myself about what made me happy. Performing success I didn't want. I was miserable, Maya. The day I walked away from my restaurant and stopped performing for my family, that was the day my life actually started. You're giving your family that chance. They might not take it, but you're offering it. Maya felt tears coming finally, the composure she'd maintained for months cracking. What if everyone hates me? James pulled her close, his arms solid and real. Then you'll have told a truth everyone needs to hear and paid the price for your courage. But you won't be alone. I'm here. And I'm not going anywhere. They kissed, desperate, clinging, finding solace in each other amidst the chaos she'd created. When they broke apart, his forehead rested against hers. Thank you for having my back in there, always. He kissed her forehead. Come home with me. You shouldn't be alone tonight. At his apartment, they made love with new intensity, two people who'd chosen authenticity over approval, finding refuge in each other while the world outside prepared to judge them. Afterward, tangled in his sheets, James traced patterns on her skin. Whatever happens next, I want you to know something. Meeting you, being with you, it's the first time I've felt seen in years. Not as the disappointing son or the failed restaurateur. Just, me, I see you. All of you, and I see you. The you that's brave enough to blow up her entire life for something she believes in. That's who I'm choosing. Not the filmmaker, not the Chen family disappointment. Just Maya, her chest ached. That might be the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Good. Because I'm falling in love with you, and I wanted to make sure you knew before everything goes insane. Maya smiled through tears. Everything's already insane, fair point. Then I'm falling in love with you, and I wanted to say it while we have a quiet moment. I'm falling in love with you too. Terrible timing, the best things always are. They fell asleep intertwined, both knowing the real storm was still coming, but finding peace in the eye of it. In this small space they'd carved out of authenticity in a world that rewarded performance above all else. Maya woke to 247 missed messages. While they'd slept, someone, likely Derek, damage control instinct kicking in, had leaked the story to the media, trying to control the narrative before Maya could. Her neural interface was flooded with news alerts, social media mentions, requests for comment. The documentary hadn't even released yet, but it was already a cultural phenomenon, already trending, already dividing people into camps of support and condemnation. James stirred beside her, immediately aware of the shift in her breathing. It started, he pulled her close. Then we face it. Together, her wrist device vibrated. Netflix's publicity team, their message flagged urgent. The press wants interviews. Major outlets. This is bigger than we anticipated. Are you ready for this? Maya looked at James. He squeezed her hand, steady and sure. She activated her neural interface's communication protocols, accepting the call. I'm ready. The ballroom glittered with enough holographic projection and ambient light manipulation to make the space feel like standing inside a diamond. Maya Chen watched the spectacle from behind her champagne flute, the carbonation tickling her nose while 300 guests circulated through her family's annual New Year's gala, though calling it the family's anything was generous when her parents had mortgaged their actual future to rent the venue. The Chen Prosperity Celebration. Her mother had branded it across every social feed and AR invitation, complete with floating family crests that followed guests through the room like digital ghosts. Sophia worked the crowd 30 feet away, her neural interface jewelry pulsing soft rose gold as she recorded every conversation, every air kiss, every calculated smile. The engagement ring on her finger caught the light, Derek had proposed 3 months ago at a media event with 200 witnesses and a sponsorship deal from Cartier. Maya had watched the live stream from her studio apartment, eating leftover pad thai and feeling something between grief and relief. "You're lurking again." James appeared at her elbow. His presence announced by the faint citrus of his cologne and the warmth that always seemed to radiate from him. He'd worn the dark suit she'd helped him pick out, the one that made his shoulders look broader and his eyes more intense. "Your mother keeps glancing over here like she's calculating how long before she has to acknowledge your existence. She's timing it," Maya said. "Maximum visibility, minimum actual interaction. There's an algorithm for everything now." She didn't look at him, tracking instead the way her father held court near the projection wall displaying the Chin family's curated success metrics, stock portfolios that looked healthy if you didn't know about the shell companies. Real estate holdings that sounded impressive if you didn't check the leverage ratios, charitable donations that seemed generous if you didn't notice they were mostly in-kind valuations of returned merchandise. James shifted closer, his arm brushing hers. "You okay?" "Wonderful. Living my best life at the gathering of hypocrites and hologram enthusiasts." But her hand found his, their fingers tangling briefly before she pulled away. Too many cameras. Too many witnesses. Her parents didn't know about James yet, didn't know she'd been seeing her cousin's ex-boyfriend for 6 months, didn't know that the family's golden boy had chosen the disappointment daughter over the perfect one. "Speech in 10 minutes, James said quietly. "Your father's about to announce the trust fund redistributions." Maya's stomach tightened. The trust funds. Of course. Her grandmother's estate had finally cleared probate, $12 million to be divided among the grandchildren according to criteria that dead Eleanor Chen had established before her stroke. Maya had spent years assuming she'd be written off, the artistic failure who'd chosen documentary filmmaking over corporate law. But she'd also spent the last 3 months discovering something her grandmother had hidden in an encrypted file on an old model data chip, evidence that Eleanor had seen through every performance. Every facade, every carefully constructed lie the family had built. And she'd adjusted her will accordingly. "Maya Chen, as I live and breathe." Uncle Richard materialized with the particular smugness of a man who'd just closed a deal and wanted everyone to know it. His augmented retinas reflected data streams, cycling through what looked like cryptocurrency valuations. "Finally gracing us with your presence. I heard your little documentary project got rejected by another festival." "What's that, the 5th one, 7th, Maya said pleasantly. "But who's counting? Well, we can't all be successful." Richard's smile had teeth in it. "Some of us have to serve as cautionary tales." Very important role in the family ecosystem. James tensed beside her, but Maya touched his wrist lightly. "Not worth it." "Not yet, Uncle Richard. Have you met James Whitmore?" Oh, I know who he is." Richard's eyes did that thing where they scanned James's biometric data through the room's security system, net worth, credit score, social rating, all available with the right access. "Sophia's ex moved on to the consolation prize, did we?" The comment landed with precision, designed to wound. Maya felt James go rigid, but she kept her expression neutral. Years of family dinners had taught her how to take a hit. "Actually," James said, voice careful and controlled, "I'd say I traded up." Richard laughed, but it was hollow. "Sure you did, kid. Sure you did." He drifted away toward the bar, already pulling up his social feed to share some observation Maya knew would be thinly veiled mockery. "Breathe," James said. "I'm breathing, you're not. You're doing that thing where you hold everything in until your shoulders are basically somewhere around your ears." His hand found the small of her back, thumb tracing small circles through the fabric of her dress. 40 minutes. That's all. Then we can leave and you can show me that rough cut you've been obsessing over. It's not ready, it's ready. You're just scared, he was right, which made it more annoying. The documentary sat on her hard drive. 87 minutes of carefully woven truth that would detonate her family's carefully constructed mythology. She'd filmed for 2 years, hidden cameras at family events, interviews with relatives who'd been written out of the official narrative, financial documents she'd received anonymously after her grandmother's death. The film was called Golden Child, and it was the most honest thing Maya had ever made. It was also the thing that would either save her family or destroy it. Maya, darling. Her mother appeared with the inevitability of a tax audit, her dress programmed to shift colors with her mood, currently a calculated lavender that suggested expensive serenity. Linda Chen had perfected the art of the public smile. Warm enough for the cameras, cold enough for her daughter to feel the distance. So glad you could make it. We were worried you'd be too busy with your little projects. As if the last 2 years of her life could be dismissed as a hobby. Wouldn't miss it, Mom. Linda's eyes flicked to James, and something hardened in her expression. James. How nice of you to join us. I'm sure Sophia will be thrilled to see you. Actually, Mrs. Chen, I'm here with Maya. The silence that followed had weight. Linda's dress flickered briefly toward crimson before she reasserted control, the fabric smoothing back to lavender. I see. How modern of you both. She turned to Maya. Voice dropping to something meant only for family. We'll discuss this later. Privately, looking forward to it, Maya said, knowing she wasn't. Linda glided away, already recalibrating her social strategy, and Maya felt the familiar weight of disappointment settle around her shoulders like a coat she couldn't take off. Your family is something else, James said. That's one word for them. The lights dimmed, signaling the beginning of the formal program. Maya's father appeared on the raised platform, his image projected across multiple surfaces so that David Chen seemed to exist in triplicate, quadruple, a man multiplied by his own ego. He looked distinguished, which was what happened when you had access to the best age regression treatments and the willingness to pay for them on credit you couldn't afford. Welcome, everyone, to the Chen Prosperity Celebration. His voice boomed through spatial audio, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. Tonight, we gather not just as family, but as a testament to the American dream, to what's possible when hard work meets opportunity, when tradition meets innovation, when family stands united in pursuit of excellence. Maya felt her jaw clench. The speech was the same every year, variations on a theme of success that had nothing to do with reality. Her father's consulting business had been hemorrhaging money for 3 years. The family's real estate portfolio was a house of cards built on variable-rate mortgages. The lifestyle everyone saw on their feeds was funded by debt. Projection and increasingly desperate attempts to maintain the illusion of wealth. This year, David continued, we have the privilege of honoring my late mother Eleanor's final wishes. As you know, she established trust funds for her grandchildren, investments in their futures, rewards for their achievements, recognition of their dedication to family values and success. Here it comes, Maya thought. The moment where she'd be publicly ranked against her siblings and cousins, found wanting, and given whatever token amount would allow her parents to claim generosity while actually delivering humiliation. Sophia appeared on stage beside their father, perfect in the way only years of careful curation could achieve. Her smile was programmed into muscle memory, her posture optimized by posture correction implants, her presence the result of 10,000 hours of personal branding. She looked happy. She looked successful. She looked, Maya thought, absolutely miserable under all that perfection. Our first distribution, David said, pulling up holographic displays of financial data, goes to my eldest daughter Sophia, in recognition of her achievements in digital marketing, her engagement to Derek Morrison, and her exemplary representation of Chin family values. $3.2 million. The crowd applauded. Sophia's smile never wavered, though Maya noticed her hand trembling slightly as she accepted the holographic certificate, a digital token that would transfer the funds to her account. Derek appeared from the wings, kissing her for the cameras, and the whole scene had the staged quality of a wedding announcement crossed with a stockholder meeting. Maya felt sick. Our second distribution, David continued, cycling through other cousins, Richard's kids, mostly, each receiving between $500,000 and $1 million with accompanying justifications about business degrees and proper career choices and commitment to family enterprises. Maya counted down. Any moment now, she'd be called up, given some token amount with a speech about potential and hoping she'd find her way, and then she'd smile through the humiliation while everyone in the room understood exactly what her parents thought of her choices. And finally, David said, his smile faltering slightly as he read from his retinal display, "Our largest distribution goes to Maya Chen." The room went quiet. Maya felt the air leave her lungs. "Maya," David continued, voice strained, in recognition of her artistic vision, her commitment to truth-telling, and her dedication to authentic family values, as outlined specifically in her grandmother's wishes, receives $5.3 million. The crowd's reaction was instant confusion. Sophia's smile cracked. Linda's dress flared briefly crimson before she caught herself. Uncle Richard looked like someone had slapped him with a fish. Maya couldn't move. James's hand found hers, squeezing. "Additionally," David said, reading mechanically from the display like he couldn't quite believe the words, "Maya is designated as the primary beneficiary of the family estate's Creative Works Archive and is granted full discretionary control over her grandmother's personal papers and media holdings." Which meant Maya now had legal control of 2 terabytes of Eleanor Chen's personal files, including, Maya knew from her preliminary research, extensive documentation of every financial shortcut, every false claim, every performance her family had perpetrated in the name of success. Her grandmother had been collecting evidence for years, and now it was Maya's. "Maya," David said tightly, "please join us on stage." The walk to the platform felt like moving through water. Every eye in the room tracked her progress. She was aware of her dress, bought second-hand, not programmed, just simple black fabric, and her lack of jewelry beyond a single silver bracelet James had given her. She looked like exactly what she was, someone who'd opted out of the performance, but now she had $5 million and her grandmother's blessing. David handed her the holographic certificate, his smile rigidly in place. "Congratulations, sweetheart," he said, voice pitched for the microphones. "Your grandmother saw something special in you. She saw truth," Maya said quietly, "just for him. She saw who I really am, not who you wanted me to be." His jaw tightened, but he maintained the smile. The room applauded politely, confused, still processing the reversal. Maya descended the stairs and nearly collided with Sophia. Her sister stared at her with something between fury and confusion. What did you do?" "Nothing," Maya said honestly. "I was just myself." Apparently that was enough. "This is bullshit." Sophia's voice cracked slightly. The perfect facade showing stress fractures. "I did everything right. I followed every rule. I built the perfect life, you built a performance," Maya said gently. Grandmother wanted something real. Sophia's eyes welled up, and for a moment Maya saw past the perfection to the sister she'd lost years ago, the girl who'd wanted to be an artist before their parents convinced her there was no money in passion, who'd loved poetry before she learned to love engagement metrics instead. "I have to go," Sophia said abruptly, turning away. Derek intercepted her, all concern for the cameras, and Maya watched her sister disappear into the crowd with her fiancé's arm around her waist like a collar. James found her in the aftermath, pulling her into a side corridor where the holograms couldn't reach. That was unexpected, that was a nuke. Maya's hand shook as she pulled up her account on her wrist display, confirming what she already knew was true. The money was real. The trust was real. Her grandmother's faith in her was real, so what now? James asked. Maya thought about the documentary on her hard drive. About the evidence now legally in her possession. About the choice she'd been avoiding for months, whether to release the film and expose everything, or to take the money and keep quiet about the performance. Now, she said slowly, I finish the film. I tell the truth. All of it. Your family will hate you, they already think I'm a disappointment. At least I'll be an honest one. She looked up at him, seeing the concern in his expression. And I'll probably lose you. When Sophia finds out we've been together, when the documentary comes out and your family sees that you've been helping me, he kissed her, sudden and fierce, pressing her back against the corridor wall. I chose you, he said against her mouth. I chose you over the performance months ago. I chose you when I left Sophia. I chose you every day since then, and I'm going to keep choosing you. So finish your film, burn down the facade, do what you need to do. I'll be here, even if it gets ugly. Especially if it gets ugly. They stayed there in the corridor, foreheads pressed together, while the gala continued beyond the walls, 300 people celebrating success that didn't exist, admiring wealth that was really debt, applauding a family that was one documentary away from exposure. Maya pulled out her phone and sent a message to the documentary producer at Netflix who'd been courting her for months. I'm ready. Let's schedule the final review. I want to premiere in January, the reply came back in seconds. Let's do this, 3 weeks, Maya said to James. In 3 weeks, everyone will know the truth, and your family will probably never speak to me again. She felt the weight of it, the loss that was coming. But she also felt something else, a lightness, like she'd been carrying something heavy for so long she'd forgotten what it felt like to stand up straight. But at least they'll be real. Even if they hate me, at least it'll be honest. They returned to the gala separately, maintaining the illusion a little longer. Maya found her mother near the champagne fountain, Linda's dress cycling through colors too quickly, a sign of agitation her emotional regulation implants couldn't quite control. We need to talk, Linda said without preamble. About this trust fund situation. What about it? Your father and I think it would be appropriate if you contributed a portion to the family fund. After all, we've invested significantly in your education, your upbringing. It's only fair that you give back. There it was. The real ask. The money was already spent in their minds, redistributed to maintain the performance. No, Maya said simply. Linda blinked, her dress flashing crimson. Excuse me? I said no. The money is mine. Grandmother left it to me specifically, with specific conditions about how it's to be used. It's not available for the family fund. You're being selfish, I'm being honest. There's a difference. Maya met her mother's eyes, seeing the anger there, the calculation. And Mom? You should know, I'm releasing my documentary in 3 weeks. It's about our family. About the performance. About all of it. Linda's face went through several expressions in rapid succession: shock, fury, fear, and finally a carefully controlled neutrality. You wouldn't dare, I already have. Netflix is premiering it January 15th. You'll get an advance copy if you want one. If you do this, Linda said quietly, you'll destroy this family, or I'll save it, Maya said. I guess we'll find out. She walked away before her mother could respond, heading for the exit where James waited. They left together, stepping out into the cold winter air, away from the holograms and the performances and the carefully curated success. That felt good, Maya admitted. Yeah, terrifying. But good. She looked back at the venue, lit up like a beacon of prosperity that didn't exist. Her phone was already buzzing with messages, her father, Uncle Richard, several cousins all demanding explanations. She silenced it. 3 weeks. Then everything changes, carrying for 2 years finally ready to surface. About choosing authenticity over approval, reality over performance, love over loyalty to a lie, ready, she said. They walked together into the night, leaving the gala behind, and Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years, not happiness exactly, but something better. Honesty. Freedom. The terrifying and exhilarating reality of being exactly who she was, regardless of cost. In 3 weeks, her family would know everything. In 3 weeks, the performance would end. In 3 weeks, they'd all have to choose who they wanted to be when nobody was watching. Maya had already made her choice. Now it was their turn.